So what can we do in Rhode Island? Well, anything we can do to slow down the increasing atmospheric CO2 will slow down the effects of climate change. So even from things that individuals can do, from trying to drive less, trying to buy items that have less packaging, anything like that, even small steps can help sort of slow down the pace of climate change, and maybe give us more time to come up with a real long-term solution. It all comes down to the warming of the atmosphere as a whole, which then warms the ice sheets and the oceans, which contributes to the two things. One, for sea level. One is the melting of continental glaciers in mountainous areas, and also the polar ice sheets on Greenland and Antarctica. That's a major contribution to sea level rise. But there's another contribution also that's just the warming of the oceans, and as anything warms, it expands. And so when you have 3.5 kilometers on average of ocean water, and you warm it up a little bit, it expands, and so that contributes to sea level rise also. And both of those things are driven primarily by increases in atmospheric CO2 and other greenhouse gases like methane. One of the things we kind of conflate, people say global warming versus climate change, and I like to talk about climate change, not global warming, because the climate change involves lots of things, from not only just temperature but also precipitation patterns. So we're looking at prolonged and more severe droughts, more flooding. So for someone, what is climate change? I would say that it's long-term change in the weather. So the weather that you're used to on a daily basis isn't the same weather anymore. We have a lot of backlash. And the greatest risk is, from my point of view, unintentionally planting the seed that there is something wrong with what you've done. Because once the seed is planted, it immediately goes flying around the internet. And once you get it out, it's damn near impossible to get back. So you actually have to be very, very careful what you say to allow any kind of perceived weakness in what you've done, because, and even if it's not true, it will fly around the internet, and basically you can't put the genie back in the bottle once that happens. There are other challenges as well. I mean, you have to figure about half the U.S. population doesn't believe scientists, so you kind of, not much you can do about that. But it's hard to convince people that what you're doing is important. And do we make mistakes? Yeah, but when you have enough scientists doing the same analyses on their own, coming up with the same answer, it's probably right.